What is this? The Pope pray for peace? Oh, Jesus Christ, young conservatives, what the fuck? Pope says, God does not bless any conflict. Anyone who's a disciple of Christ, the Prince of Peace, is never on the side of those who once wielded the sword and today drop bombs. Military action will not create space for freedom or times of peace, which comes only from the patient promotion of coexistence and dialogue amongst the people. Young conservatives immediately turn around and just, I guess, depict the Pope as brown, wearing I hate white people, wearing the Palestine colors. Sticker that says, I hate white people, dead brown bodies of color, killed by Israel, not cool. Did you know Jesus was a brown body of color? In parentheses, base, decolonized Palestine, Black Lives Matter, Obama 08. Never seen someone get excommunicated by a community note? I am Catholic. This is not my Pope. You are not a Catholic if you do not accept the Pope, but rather a schismatic. Canon 751. Schism is the refusal of submission to the Supreme Pontiff, i.e. the Pope. I don't know how you live like this. I don't know how you can be such a hateful little monster. I don't understand, man. What good does it do for you or your mentality, your mental capacity, your state, your personhood? It can't be good to live like this, right? You're just giving yourself maximum brain cancer at all times. Reactionary ideology is unironically identifying what the most vile thing you can say or do or behave as and just constantly hitting it. It's just vice signaling at this point. It's endless vice signaling. Very strange behavior. It's so unbelievably antisocial. I'm not exactly sure on who this is for, how this works, who this works on. None of it makes sense to me. I see stuff like this and I think to myself, why are you actively positioning yourself as objectively a repulsive person? Works on his cult? I don't even think, man. I think there's still, I think a lot of mainline MAGA would still probably look at this and be like, why are you guys saying that? I just don't think they see it. There are plenty who do and plenty who lean into it and plenty in mainline MAGA that just love this shit. They love being repulsive in other ways, I guess. But this is not a sustainable movement. This is just being a villain, being loud and proud about being a villain. This is like kicking babies in the head. This is Israel shit. The maximalist version of this is Israel. How strange. Here's what the Pope said, by the way, when Pope Leo was asked about Trump's criticism, which was really funny. I mean, I love the term. I love the take. The Pope is very weak on crime. That is awesome. As a standalone statement, that in and of itself is hilarious. Okay, the Pope is very weak on crime. Bro, he's the Pope. Brother, what are you saying? Here was his long rant on Leo. He's just lost his mind. Pope Leo is weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. Yeah, bro, he's the Pope. You are the closest depiction to Satan. Of course he is going to be antagonistic to everything that you're saying and doing. If he is even remotely honest as a religious figure, he has to oppose what you are saying and what you're doing. This, under normal circumstances, is an opportunity for you to think about how you present yourself, the actions that you're carrying out. But of course, we are so far removed from Christ in the United States of America. We're so far removed from spirituality that our main religion has been capitalism, right? A capitalist distortion of what Christianity is supposed to be. That's precisely the reason why he goes, Pope Leo is weak on crime. Incredible statement. What's next? You're going to get mad at him for kissing people's feet? You know what I mean? He's washing black people's feet. Disrespectful. He goes to Africa and he kisses the feet of random people. That's kind of a Pope thing to do, buddy. It's called an exercise in fucking humility. You obviously don't know a thing about that. He talks about fear of the Trump administration, but doesn't mention the fear that the Catholic Church and all other Christian organizations had during with COVID. What? God, every day that goes by, I get more repulsed by it. I have a revulsion to MAGA conservatism. I already had a lot of smoke for it, a lot of hatred for it, but it's just turning into sheer disgust because I know why he's bringing up COVID. It's that fucking simple. For so many in his audience, they hear him go, remember when during COVID you couldn't go and pray to Christ in your churches? Remember COVID? That's enough for so many evangelicals. They go, oh my God, they forget that he was the president when that was happening. And on top of that, like, who gives a what does that have to do with anything going on right now? They were arresting priests, ministers, and everybody else for holding church services, even when going outside and being 10 and even 20 feet apart. I like his brother Louis much better than I like him because Louis is all MAGA. He gets it and Leo doesn't. Does he think that the papacy extends to immediate family members? Like, is that what he... In his mind, is there like shine? Is there some kind of like Pope-like legitimacy to the next of kin or to his brother? Is that why he's bringing him up? I wonder how he operates in his mind. I mean, he has been a firm and committed believer in the transitive property of just like being associated with like an MIT uncle, right? He has done that before. Where he's like, my uncle was in the MIT. My uncle was MIT scientist. My uncle was a MIT scientist, and therefore I'm very smart. It's like, that's not how that works, man. Like, at all. That's so strange. You don't become smart by default because your uncle is, and you certainly don't become Pope by virtue of your brother being the Pope. I don't want a Pope who thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I don't want a Pope who thinks it's terrible that America attacked Venezuela, a country that was sending massive amounts of drugs into the United States, and even worse, emptying their prisons, including murderers, drug dealers, and killers into our country. And I don't want a Pope who criticizes the president of the United States. I don't want a Pope that criticizes the president of the United States. What the fuck? How dare you? We will invade the Vatican and we will restore glory to the Catholic Church, just like they did in the 13th century. He really is living up to the Mango Mussolini name, though. Like, I will beat the shit out of the Pope. I will force the Pope to lean in and legitimize my regime, if not by force. Just as I should have been one of the 88 clerics that chose the next supreme leader of the Islamic Republic, I should be one of the people, if not the most important vote for the next pope. I have profound knowledge of Catholicism as I do Shia Islam, and therefore I should be the man making these choices. We will tariff the Vatican. We will put sanctions on the Pope. I'm doing exactly what I was elected in a landslide to do, setting record low numbers in crime and creating the greatest stock market in history, telling the Pope about the greatest stock market in history. Leo should be thankful because, as everyone knows, he was a shocking surprise. He wasn't on any list to be Pope and was only put there by the church because he was an American and they thought that would be the best way to deal with President Donald J. Trump. If I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the Vatican. Unfortunately, Leo's weak on crime, weak on nuclear weapons, does not sit well with me, nor does the fact that he meets with Obama sympathizers like David Axelrod, a loser from the left who is one of those who wanted churchgoers and clerics to be arrested. Leo should get his act together as Pope, use common sense, stop catering to the radical left, and focus on being a great Pope, not a politician. It's hurting him very badly, and more importantly, it's hurting the Catholic Church. President Donald J. Trump. This comic perfectly depicts what's going on. Violence is not the answer. Seek diplomacy, not force. Let us pray for peace. You, what the hell do you know? Fuck off. This is why I say if Jesus Christ came back to earth, evangelical Christians or Israeli settlers would beat him to death with hammers. Two of the most violent, repulsive forces on the planet, just locked in on their own version of cancerous fascist ideology. If Jesus Christ was like, oh, I'm back now, guys, let's save the planet, you know, let's heal the sick. They'd be like, shut the fuck up, libtard. I'll kill you. Wow, the woke Marxist Pope is trying to Islamify the Catholic Church. Oh, I guess there's no sanity here, right? I mean, the Pope is a real mover and shaker for, you know, hundreds of millions of Catholics all around the world. I still think he's got motion, right? Does the Pope have motion? He does, right? Do people get mad at this stuff in defense of the Pope? I don't want to lose hope. I want to believe that there are definitely, you know, a billion Catholics out there that are just frustrated when they hear this stuff, right? Here is Lindsey Graham in 2018.
You could be the Pope and criticize him. It doesn't matter. He'll go after the Pope. You could be Putin and say nice things, and he'll like you. It's not the content of your character. It's whether or not you show him respect and like him.
Yeah, except Lindsey Graham. This was when Trump was duking it out with the Pope back in the day during the Republican primaries. He wasn't the president yet. And of course, all of the Republicans, all of the institutional Republicans, or no, not in 2018, he said that. Never mind. I guess this was when he was more critical of Trump. He hadn't been fully Trumpified. But even then, he was going back and forth. This was the John McCain era of Lindsey Graham. I was thinking like, because there was, so when Donald Trump initially criticized the Pope, it was in the primaries, the previous Pope. Obviously, that was a ordeal for the Republicans who at the time were using that as an attack against him because they didn't want Trump to be president. But in 2018, after Trump had become president, there were still Republicans who were critical of Donald Trump. Lindsey Graham was one of the few because he was, butt buddies with John McCain, the Maverick himself. And at the time, he would still go back and forth. He would still go back and forth on his criticisms of Donald Trump. Back then, the Republicans would say stuff like, "Oh, just don't take him seriously. He's just tweeting. Who cares? Who cares?" Right? Like that was his take. Nowadays, they're like, "What now, libtard? Yeah, he said what he said, and I stand by it."
The president used a lengthy social media post to sharply criticize the Pope, saying he didn't think the Chicago-born leader of the Catholic Church is doing a very good job, and that, quote, he's a very liberal person.
He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world.
His comments come after Pope Leo suggested that the war is being fueled by what he calls a delusion of omnipotence and demanded that political leaders stop and negotiate peace.
We don't like a pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo.
He's the Pope, brother. There is perhaps no greater indication that American religiosity is just totally phony than not even having like a little bit of reverence, a little bit of respect for the Catholic Church and the papacy. We are a nation of heretics, okay? I just don't understand.
When President Donald Trump announced a ceasefire with Iran this past week, it came after a chorus of world leaders called for an end to the war. One of those voices belonged to Leo XIV, the first ever U.S.-born pope in the history of the Catholic Church. The 70-year-old pope was born Robert Prevost and grew up in Chicago. For many years, he was known simply as Father Bob. Leo is measured, deliberate, and soft-spoken. But the American pope has become increasingly outspoken against certain policies of the American president. So we asked 3 influential American Cardinals who know him well why Pope Leo's church has emerged as a voice of moral opposition to the war in Iran and the crackdown on immigration.
Maybe because they're the Pope. Like, this is kind of a big deal, kind of a world-changing event. And popes often, preach a message of tolerance, and like there's certain things that they're obviously intolerant on, LGBT issues, abortion, whatever, and they've like wokeified the church a little bit throughout time. But like, this is literally in the Pope's wheelhouse. Let's end mass famines. Let's be nicer to others. Like is there a Pope? Even the Nazi Pope probably said similar things, That is literally the Pope autopilot position. Getting mad at the Pope for saying what every Pope has said throughout millennia is such a funny position. Because like, at least even in the past, at least like other monarchies and whatnot had the decency to just like try and maneuver around this kind of fascinating political schism. God forbid the Pope doesn't want Bethlehem to be bombed.
What do you think having an American Pope has done for the Catholic Church here in the U.S.?
I think it's put Chicago on the map.
Finally. But we're proud. We're proud that we produced a Pope.
I mean, look, I've eaten my words over and over again. I genuinely thought that the American Pope was like a CIA mission because it sounds like, can you really blame me? Can you blame me? I was like, come on, man. Like, really? A motherfucking American Pope from Chicago? Like, that just straight up feels like, Opus Dei, CIA infiltration of the Vatican. I was wrong. It turns out maybe the reason why they chose the American Pope was because they thought at least this American Pope could like restrain the American Satan, the great Satan. I genuinely thought it was for the opposite reason, where the Pope was going to be like noticeably absent from the conversation about like, Israel blowing up churches and shit. Turns out, nope. It was actually so that you could carry that message directly to the American Catholics and maybe even the president. It turns out, not that it matters. Obviously, the president is the Antichrist, which is unbelievable. And it's so funny that his base of support are evangelical Christian Zionists who don't recognize that he is unironically the Antichrist.
The Archbishop of Chicago, Cardinal Blaise Supich, as well as Cardinals Robert McElroy of Washington, D.C., and Joseph Tobin of Newark, New Jersey, agreed to their first ever joint interview. Their candor surprised us about the new pope and what they're hearing in the pews.
We're the 3 American cardinals that are actively serving dioceses right now. So we listen to a lot of people. It's part of the job description. And I think we're aware of the anxieties of people about the threats to peace at all different levels.
Would you like to see this first American Pope be more outspoken on issues that he disagrees with?
He's the pastor of the world. He's not a pundit.
Would you like to see the Pope be more outspoken on issues? It's such a funny way to frame it. It's like, dude, that's the voice of God. Again, I don't believe this stuff, but at least I have like working knowledge of what's going on. Like, what do you mean? You're treating it like he's going on the Sunday shows. Like, no, he is the man channeling what God wants. His job is to literally say those things. His job is unironically to go around and be like, we got to feed the poor. We gotta give everybody shelter. Stop killing immigrants.
War is back in vogue.
He started in January with a speech criticizing U.S. military action in Venezuela. After that, the Vatican's ambassador in the U.S. was called to the Pentagon for a meeting, which 2 church officials described to 60 Minutes as unpleasant and contentious. Both the Pentagon and the Vatican have said since in multiple statements that it was routine and provided an opportunity for an exchange of ideas.
Pete Hegseth lecturing the Pope. Pete Hegseth with a Templar tattoo lecturing the motherfucking Pope, being like, yo, you're being a pussy, dog. Hey, you guys need to tell your Pope to shut the fuck up. Y'all need to tell the Pope, shut the fuck up. We're doing hoorah. Hard dick military action, sir. You understand me? Hoorah, baby.
Holy Father, can I ask you what your hopes are for the Middle East?
I'm praying for peace. I hope that ceasefire would be the most effective way to work together, to find peace for all parties, to respect all parties.
Thank God, because he lived in Peru for a little bit. So at least he has like a little bit of an accent. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, I feel like it's just bad vibes. I still can't get over the fact that he's got like a Chicago accent. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have the Pope be so American, man. You can't. Like, it's just, I'm sorry. The Pope should not know what the Bears are, the Cubs, White Sox fan as the Pope. You know, what the fuck?
The Holy Father usually avoids calling out President Trump by name or any member of his administration. But in a Palm Sunday homily, he appeared to reference the religious language Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who is Christian but not Catholic, often uses to frame the war.
Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle.
Pope Leo warned that Jesus, quote, does not listen to the prayers of those who wage war.
Is this a just war?
No. Under Catholic teaching, this is not a just war.
Dude, can you imagine if the Pope excommunicated J.D. Vance? I would die. J.D. Vance, for those of you who don't know, is an adult Catholic convert. And let's be real, and I think a lot of the, what is it called? Like the crib Catholics? Catholics is the crib? Well, or cradle Catholics will say, adult convert Catholics are some of the most annoying motherfuckers out there. And J.D. Vance is annoying even before he did that. But there is something really funny about the potential of having the new American Pope excommunicating directly JD motherfucking Vance from the Catholic Church. That would be hilarious. God, what a fucking loser he is. We could see it happen. Honestly, we could see it happen.
Iran has been the chief exporter of terror. Is there no scenario in which preventing that can be a just war?
60 Minutes trying to debate with a bunch of Catholic priests. Don't you have any allowances for a little bit of child murder is awesome. Yeah, no, this is perfectly American, okay? Bunch of Catholic priests sitting there being like, this is not a just war. And she's like, well, what if the babies we're killing had bad vibes?
Cardinal Cupich not only takes issue with the war, but also what he calls the gamification of how the White House has portrayed it on social media.
Flawless victory.
We're dehumanizing the victims of war by turning the suffering of people and the killing of children and our own soldiers into entertainment.
You called it sickening.
It is sickening to splice together movie cuts with actual bombing and targeting of people.
She's like, but what if it wasn't sickening? Cardinal, Archbishop, what if it was cool though? I'm 60 Minutes, and this is CBS News. What if it was tight?
This past January, Cardinal Tobin called Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, a lawless organization.
Cardinal, those are strong words to call ICE a lawless organization.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
I didn't say that they were people without law, but when people act in this way, when they have to hide their identities to terrify people.
Again, this is one of the instances where you could just say, hey, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a Catholic bishop. That's it. You could be like, hey, my source, the Bible. These are the guys who could literally do that. Sincerely be like, I don't know if you know this. This is really fucked up. Americans are so used to the evangelical Christianity that is the most psychotic version of like fake religion that we've ever experienced, we've ever encountered, like the televangelists and whatnot, that just constantly dick eat Trump, no matter how satanic he is, that when they actually meet like normal religious figures, they're like, I don't understand. Like, why would you say that about ICE agents? I don't know, because they're behaving in a satanic manner. I mean, look at this guy. He's got a iPhone that he's using as a body camera. What more do you want to know about this process? Pope Leo is weak on crime. You bolt awake in the University of Wittenberg. You are not online. The year is 1517. You are Professor Martin Luther, and you have changed your mind. The future cannot come to pass. The church must remain. Oh, that's awesome. I've made a grave mistake.
McElroy, we are speaking in a church here in Washington, D.C. that serves a largely immigrant population. The pastor asked us not to share or publicize this parish name or location. What's he worried about?
He's worried for his people. They live under fear, and thus our mass count at the Spanish masses in our archdiocese went down 30% from the year before. 30%, that's a lot. And it's all fear.
Before he became Archbishop of Washington, Cardinal Robert McElroy served as the Bishop of San Diego, one of the busiest stretches of the southern border for illegal crossings.
I feel it got to a point where it was getting out of control.
Under Biden?
Under Biden, yes.
You believe in strong borders.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the same bishop that was like, yeah, it's an abominable regime. We must take it out. See, they even brought a chud. There you go. They even got a chud archbishop criticizing Donald Trump. What more do you need?
So what's wrong then with the current policy?
This is a roundup of people throughout the country, people who have been living good, strong lives, been here a long time, raised their children here, many of their children born here, and are citizens. That's what our objection is.
But this was discussed during the campaign.
If you're a cardinal and you say Jesus would have been for strong borders, you're insane. That's right. Jesus Christ would have been for border security. Jesus Christ would have been frustrated with how porous our borders have been.
And yet President Trump won the Catholic vote over Kamala Harris handily, 55 to 43%. He promised to secure the border. He talked about deportation, and a majority of Catholics voted for the policy.
I would like to know what Catholics feel about this indiscriminate mass deportation. I think that it's very clear the American people are saying, we really didn't vote for this.
What do you say to people in the pews who say, I don't want to hear politics from my priest?
I say, fine. I want to preach the gospel. God wants us to promote peace in the world because his desire is that we be one human family.
See, that's woke. That's unironic. Again, God wants us to all be seen as one big family. Okay, that's woke as fuck. You see what I'm saying? You can't have it both ways, man. That's it. That's how it is. Jesus wasn't like, what's the color of your skin before I figure out if I should heal you, leper? You know? Jesus wasn't like, are you in a network of coverage? I'm HMO, you know? I'm a HMO Jesus. I'm not PPO Jesus. Sorry, these lepers will not get cured. Like, that's not how it is.
We found a sign of what motivates Leo and how his church will care for migrants and the less fortunate in a sacred space 15 miles southeast of Rome. Nearly 2,000 years ago, Castel Gandolfo was the villa of a Roman emperor. For the last 400 years, it has been the Pope's summer home. Leo's predecessor, Pope Francis, enlisted Father Manny Durantes, a priest from Chicago and an immigrant to the U.S. himself, to help open it up to the world.
I think Pope Leo wants to make the dream of Pope Francis a reality. After we explained the whole vision and talked with him, he said to us, full force ahead, Father Manny. This is the spiritual heart of Borgo Laudato Si and this entire space.
That vision is an innovative new project centered around migrants and locals in need, participating in the...
That's amazing. Respect. Dude, this is what it's supposed to be about, man. Oh, thank God the second Pope is also woke. We got woke Pope 2.0, you know? Oh my God, I was so wrong. Listen, I was so fucking wrong, dude. I said so many things. I was like, oh my God, we have an American Pope. It's like one of those things that's supposed to be spiritually not American. I was so wrong. I repent. Pope Francis still clears? Yeah, he does. I mean, Pope Francis is obviously the GOAT. Nobody comes near him. But this is a guy who is carrying his goals out. Like, he's seeing through with Pope Francis's agenda. So that's pretty cool.
How many migrants are you talking about that may be part of this job training program?
Between migrants and people in vulnerability, our goal is to be able to at least train about 1,000 people, per year.
America's going to drop ship ice in there, dude, on Italian soil.
That doesn't sound like a big number, but ultimately it's a model of how if every church did something like this, every diocese, we have 6,000 of them, that's a lot of people we could train in a year.
My name is Ali. I'm the Yamin. I'm from Bangladesh.
My name is Nermin from Syria.
We met the first graduating class of chefs in training that included refugees and migrants from around the world. One was a young man from West Africa who survived the dangerous journey by sea to the Italian island of Lampedusa in the Mediterranean, where tens of thousands of migrants have drowned.
Pope Leo will spend July 4th in Lampedusa, Italy, a site where tens of thousands of migrants land on their way to Europe every year. It's America's 250th birthday. Do you think the Holy Father is sending a message, Cardinal, with that visit?
He's sending a message that his top priority right now is to be with those who are downcast and marginalized.
Coincidence that he's going there on July?
He's the Pope, man. Is this lady not Catholic? I don't understand. He's the Pope. Why the would he give a shit about America's 250th anniversary, dude? He is responsible for an institution that has been around for a lot longer than America has. He's the Pope. He's got other shit to worry about. I don't know. Am I crazy for that question? Like, is that like a weird thing to even, like, should I be expecting the American Pope to come to the United States of America for like 4th of July, the 250th anniversary of the country? His office predates the country. His office predates the country by thousands of years. Like, not just by a couple. It's so ridiculous. He's supposed to be a continuation of thousands of years of tradition.
President Trump's plan to use force not to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, but to close it to all shipping, has horrified and mystified America's erstwhile allies.
Truly the Antichrist when you think about it. Like, genuinely. Bro, by the way, even the Daily Wire gave up. POV, you're in the middle of defending Trump and he posts a picture of himself as Jesus. Even the fucking Daily Wire was like, come on, man. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Bro, if you saw a Trump-like figure in a B movie, because obviously like a serious blockbuster would not have a president so cartoonishly evil. Trump is unironically the president that is the depiction of Satan or the Antichrist in like Christian movies. You know what I'm talking about? Like evangelical rapture adjacent movies. Like that's usually the type of the way that Trump is operating is exactly what you see a motherfucking president operate in like those evangelical Christian movies where the president is like depicted as Satan. Okay. The only difference, of course, is that he would absolutely be a Democrat, right? It's so stupid. Yes, he's the left behind depiction of the Antichrist. Yeah, exactly. Which is so wild. Like, didn't these guys grow up watching those fucking movies? Like, how do they not recognize that this is unironically exactly what the Antichrist looked like, felt like, sounded like, behaved like? Yeah, gold statues everywhere, biblical amounts of greed, like the type of greed that's depicted in the fucking Bible.